Hi everyone, welcome back to SG Carmart Reviews, and today we are driving the facelifted BMW iX3. So you might be thinking, hey, wasn't the iX3 launched fairly recently? Why is it already being facelifted? Well, you're actually right. So when the iX3 was launched, it was at the tail end of that particular X3 generation's lifespan, and this is after all an electrified X3. So when the X3 range as a whole was facelifted in the middle of 2021, this car was similarly updated as well. So let's go check out what's new with this car. Design-wise, there have been some slight tweaks to the iX3. So for example, the front kidney grille is now slightly bigger, and also we do have this eye badging. This is to signify that this is an electric car as part of BMW i's sort of larger electric lineup. What else? The headlights are slightly slimmer, and also this front bumper area now, it's got a little bit busier looking design, but I do think it makes it look a little bit sportier. So now if we slide on over to the side, we have new rims. I think these look better than the ones on the pre-facelift model. And also, something to note is that this car now comes standard with the M Sport package. So you get like some sporty flourishes and as well as some sort of M emblems around the car. So overall, I would say this is still a fairly traditional looking SUV. It is, an X3 after all. Beyond some of these like blue detailing just to say, hey, I'm an electric car, it looks fairly sort of understated, right? It doesn't sort of scream in your face, oh, look at me, I'm an electric car. And I think that's something nice about it, it's just what you expect a sort of compact SUV to look like. And overall, I think it looks pretty good. So now if we move on to the back, so at the back, the big change is with these tail lights. So there's this new design, I'm not sure what you call it, but to me it looks like a lollipop that's been dropped on its side. So it's thin here, big here. You can't really see it in daylight obviously, but it is actually very, very distinctive at night, and that's kind of cool, right? What else is new? This rear diffuser area is slightly redesigned, but beyond that, it's still a fairly sort of typical looking SUV. In terms of boot space, here we have a 510 litre boot. So for context, your standard X3 has 550 litres, so this one, you lose about 40 litres just to accommodate some of the electrical components. But again, 510 litres, right? You can easily fit your big luggage. The anti-trolley, almost, it won't close, but close enough. And I think 510 litres is plenty for most people. Now let's go check out the inside of the car. The BMW iX3 uses an electric motor to produce 282 brake horsepower and 400 Nm of torque. The single-speed transmission brings the car from 0 to 100 km/h in 6.8 seconds. The battery capacity of the iX3 is 80 kWh and it has a drive range of 460 km. For more details on the BMW iX3 or any other car, head on to sgcarmart.com to help you make the smart choice on your next car. Here in the back of the iX3, I must say it's a pretty spacious cabin, right? So this is my standard driving position and I have a good amount of leg room and quite a reasonable amount of headroom. We also have a full-length panoramic roof, so that actually helps to suck in light and make the space here feel more airy. In terms of materials, this is a nice, sort of comfortable leather seat. And amenities-wise, we have aircon vents, we have temperature control, but we don't have fan control, so that's controlled by the front. And we also have two USB-C ports. Here in the center, we have two cup holders sort of neatly tucked away, as well as a small storage space here. And of course, we also have ISOFIX points, that's fairly standard on most modern cars. Now, if I slide over to the middle, we do have a transmission tunnel hub. This is a carryover from your standard X3. But even so, you can sort of fairly comfortably tuck your leg in here, or you just sort of put them at the side. And definitely this car will very capably sort of seat 3 adults at the back. So, very family friendly in that sense. So now let's go check out the front. So it's here in the front of the iX3 that you will see the most obvious changes that comes with this facelift. So the main one obviously is this 12.3-inch screen that runs OS 7. So OS 7 isn't the latest operating system that BMW has, that's actually OS 8 and that's what you get in the iX. However, this OS 7 is a very familiar system, and it's, you know, very easy to use, very obvious to use. You know, I like that it's laid out in a very intuitive manner, and you can either control it via touch, you can control it via this wheel here, or you can actually use voice control using the intelligent personal assistant. So for example, hey BMW,
which one of the destinations?
yeah, so you know, it will simply pull up the relevant navigation settings. Also, we get wireless Apple CarPlay, so that's very useful for people who need to listen to your podcast, your music, whatsoever. The other thing that's new, obviously, is this center console area. So this has been redesigned, and this is the same design that you'll see on all your contemporary BMWs, and I do like it. I do like that overall the space is very neatly organized, very intuitively designed, and you know, everything's obvious to use, everything's where you expect them to be. And I think this still sort of retains all the hallmarks of BMW, right? You know, it feels premium, it feels classy, and it's, you know, it feels expensive, right? Also, this car, because it is the M Sport Package S standard, we get these Vanesca leather sport seats, we have this anthracite headliner, and as well as this sort of aluminium finish on the doors and on the dash area. So yeah, you know, that's the interior. Now let's go take this car for a drive.
You got something that I need, yeah, I need. Ooh, ooh. You got something that I need, yeah, I need. Ooh, ooh. Take me somewhere far away from here.
So, the facelifted iX3 uses the same 5th generation eDrive powertrain as the pre-facelift model, and it is a very capable powertrain, right? So you have 210 kilowatts and 400 Newton meters of torque, and that's plenty of sort of accelerative performance. I think more than most people will be needing on their day-to-day drive. And you know, it is a brisk, you know, reasonably quick car. You know, it's not super fast, but it's an SUV, you don't need to be super fast, right? What I do like is the fact that it is a very easy to drive and very comfortable car. BMWs tend to be sort of a little bit firmer suspension than other cars, and I think in this particular context of an electric car, it actually works because it helps to deal with the extra weight of the car. And you know, this is a heavy car, but it actually doesn't feel very heavy, and I think that's partially down to the fact that this is a rear-wheel drive car. So the front end feels a little bit lighter, a little bit more willing to turn when you want it to. And that makes it just for an easier car to drive. You don't feel cumbersome or anything. And that's nice, right? So overall, the car drives very similar to before because, you know, it is basically the same mechanical setup as before. So the couple of things that have been changed or improved is, the first thing is the assisted driving function. So this is part of the driver assistance systems, right? So basically this new one is an upgraded version of adaptive cruise control essentially. So you have your adaptive cruise control where you can maintain a distance from the car in front of you, but also this will actually steer for you. And the cool thing is that when you have it engaged, as I do right now, the dashboard actually shows you like what's on either side of you. So the car is actually using cameras to detect what's around you. So it's really good in the sense that it can actually differentiate between a motorbike, a car, or a heavy vehicle, and then it will sort of brake accordingly and accelerate accordingly when you need it to. And the other good thing is that this also has lane changing assist. So if you hit the indicator and the car detects that there is sort of the lane beside you is free, it will actually help you to steer into the next lane as well. So that's useful, right? That's a nifty function to have. And I do actually like the system. You know, I find that with most EVs, I tend to drive with the assisted driving on just because, you know, let the car do all the thinking for you, right? And when it's on, the car obviously will try to drive in the most sort of economical way, and that helps you save energy. The other function that I do like is the adaptive recuperation. So with this car, you can actually select from a number of regenerative settings. So you have like off, you have low, you have high, and then you have adaptive. And personally, again, I like adaptive because what it does is it takes into account your driving situation and also perhaps your navigation settings, and it will then adjust the recuperation accordingly. So for example, if I'm on a highway, I'm cruising along and there's no one in front of me, there's actually no recuperation going on. So the car will essentially let you roll and maintain your speed. However, if we get slightly closer to the car in front of me and it sees that it uses a camera and detects a car in front, it will then increase the regenerative braking so that basically to shed some speed but also to help recuperate some of the energy. And that's nice, right? I like that you don't have to think about it, you don't have to, you know, use pedal shifters and adjust your settings or whatsoever. The car just does it for you, and that's nice. So what do I not like about this car then? Well, honestly, very little as far as the way it drives. I would say the only thing that I'm personally not keen on is the way it sounds. This is what BMW calls its BMW Iconic Sounds, and it's basically the electric soundtrack, right? Because this is an electric car, so it doesn't make any actual sounds. So they have this soundtrack that has been composed, and you know, especially if you put it on sport mode, it makes like a whirring spaceship kind of sound. I'm personally not a fan. I like my EVs to be quiet and silent, so I would choose to turn it off, and you have the option. But obviously some people like it, you know, it's a little bit of fun, you know, so I don't hate it, I just, you know, not my personal thing. But yeah, you know, all in all, I think this is a very capable electric SUV, you know, it's very sensible, it's very easy to use, and I think it's well, the features that you have add up to a pretty complete car. So, the BMW iX3, is it a will buy, won't buy, or go try? Personally, this is a fairly easy will buy to me. I think that as a whole, this SUV segment is actually most prime for electrification. I think the SUV sort of body style gives itself well to electrification because I think size-wise, you know, it's big enough to accommodate a good size battery pack. And at the same time, some of the compromises that you may get with electrification, things like, you know, an extra weight and maybe slightly compromised interior space, you probably won't feel it as much in a car of this size. And also, you know, think about it, like nowadays, people who buy SUVs, they're using them as your daily runabouts, right? You're not going off-roading or anything. And so things like your driving feel, your agility, things like that, perhaps not so important in a car like this. And therefore, I do think that, you know, if you were considering a premium compact electric SUV right now, I would say that iX3 is one of the more compelling choices, to be honest. It's not perhaps the most fun or interesting car, but then again, it's an SUV. You know, SUVs in general aren't particularly fun or interesting. And personally, I'm not an SUV sort of person, so maybe I wouldn't have this over some other electric car. But if you are looking for an SUV that is electric and that is premium, you know, this definitely fits the bill, and this does a very, very good job. And in totality, you know, the iX3 isn't breaking new ground. But I think for what it is very well executed, and perhaps most importantly or most interestingly, as far as price is concerned, right now this iX3 costs not the same, but not very much different from a base petrol X3. So I would say that if you were ready to go electric, you know, you have access to electric chargers, and you were looking for an X3, this electric one is the one to have. Alright, so that's our review of the facelifted BMW iX3. Let us know what you think about this car, and also what other cars you want us to drive. Let us know in the comment section below, and do also like, share and subscribe to our channel. I know there are a lot of you watching unsubscribed, so please subscribe so that you won't miss out on our upcoming videos. And do also hit the notification bell so that you will be notified of when new videos are uploaded. And follow us on TikTok, we are at SGCarMart. So yes, until the next video, I'll catch you soon. Bye! Okay. 3, 2, 1. Intelligent personal assistant. So for example, hey BMW. Hey BMW.
Buy the car? I don't know. Oh yeah.